Good morning, and this is the crypto day morning for today's date of Sunday, the 30th day of September 2018. I'd like to welcome you to the Money Charts channel, all trades, bets, and of the like within one's own risk versus reward. For me, portfolio management, risk reward management is always job number one. Bitcoin, there's not really much to go over here, as it remains correctionary within this 18 average, and even more so when looking at such within the 3-day term time frame, as it had a little pierce below up to the 18 highs, little pierce below again, and it's been staying within it now just 3 periods or 9 days, or the equivalency of what could be up to 9 days, just going sideways, resisting the 18 highs. That's in at about 67.72, and the 18 lows in at about 63.5. As far as any short-term analysis, overall decent size within the market. It had this breakout a few hours ago, and it's not much of a move. 65.60 up to 66.20. That's a differential of barely over a percentile point, and resistance in the area of around 6,600 down to about 65.73 for where it came from. A nice little setup overall, like how it's holding amongst the 18 average of highs, but again, very low volatile, and it's been very choppy, to say the least, within this market. So then, let's take a look at a altcoin first. Let's look at Ripple. And I'm going to cross it against Binance on the daily term time frame. You have this beautiful move where you go up really fast, starting on this date, September 18th, in this case coming from the 29 handle, rallying all the way up to the 7,700 handle. Coming back down successfully, what it's looking like anyway, to the 18 average of highs. So it's stating there could be another leg higher. I like how within yesterday's and today's session, how it's lifting off within the 18 moving average. When we look at this on a 400-minute time frame, and we insert one of those little fun looking straight lines. Okay, so this is the level of resistance in which it played around with, and it looks like it's taking it out. Now, as far as where that resistance highest level lies, it's barely pierced above it, but I like how it's been leaving this 18 average. It could be ready to come up and maybe test this high and maybe even make a nice leg higher. After all, with a lot of these coins, when they go up, they can go up to magnificent proportions. Red coin is next on the list, and it's been moving well. I recently just sold at 76, so now I got a buy order in it, or a sell order at 80. My buy order has been increased to 64. But as far as its move, it was in the sideways consolidation for 47 between 63. Has had a nice little breakout as far as levels where it could have the potential to move up towards. We have previous levels in here, but when these things go, they can go really big. When you figure 30 up to about 80, we'll say almost triple. We'll almost triple here from like 8 would have been like 20. So that's the equivalency of like being up here. I'm not saying it's going to have this kind of move, but it's had it before. I mean, when you look at the movements going up all the way to 196 on the Christmas period candle, fallen back down to the 60, so losing 3 times its value, and then retesting that exact same level again a few periods later, or in this case, couple weeks, or within a couple weeks later, it retested that area. Nice little up and down choppy moves. So for me, I'm just going to keep on selling as the orders come into the upside, and again, if it comes down to 64, the buy orders will come back into place. And as far as how I position some of the orders that I've had, at least over the last month, and I ended up, just wrote this note down. I ended up finding out that I sold some NAS at 172.49. So I'm going to take a look at that next. And it's not that I just sold it. I'm recording this at 9:33 a.m. Eastern Time. So that was like 40 minutes ago. But on August the 31st to September the 4th, I sold at like 48, 51, 54, 57, 60, then again at 63. as that was, let's just bring this back up in here so we can see the daily term. So September, so that would have been all of these moves up here, as we can see, as it broke 40 all the way up to 63. And then that day and the next day, the buybacks came in. 55, 52, and 49. I was able to sell at 47 2 days later on September the 4th, and the next day buying back at 48. 5 days later, selling at both 57 and 60, and then a week and a half later, buying them both back at 51 and 48. Over the last 3 days, it's been selling at 57, 60, 64, 68, 72, 76. So the intervals have changed from this here. It went from every 3 basis points to every 4, and it's now going to be going, after the 80, it's going to every 5 basis points, 85, then 90, and then it goes up to 6, 96, and so on. As that is how I am trading that. So now let's take a look at the situation of a trade. What am I going to do after selling the NAS at the 17249 handle? Let's take a look at that code next. And within such, it just had a, well, I sold it right now near the top anyway. It got up to about 18.4. How fast did this shoot up? And I'm going to see this for the first time because I never was even just instantly like this. Literally, it just happens in one quick scoop. And now, as far as where I would be looking to be trading next, well, at 1,800 basis points, I want, well, at least noticeably better than 10% of a gain. So if I'm selling at 18, that means it has to be around the 20 mark. So I probably sell at about 21 next. That would be where my next seller, like at 0.20957, somewhere around there. And I'm going to sell about 10, 11% for what I got. After all, it's a differential of 3 basis points on 18, which is 1/6. That's about 17, 18%. So I can definitely afford to get rid of 10, 11%. And then if this thing goes way high, then I can have decent amount of coins where I can maybe liquidate up to an all-in or a decent large sale along the way. As far as where I want to buy back, I mean, it's congestion area. So about 15 handle, maybe even in the 14 mix here, 14.7. And what I would do is sell basically, I want to have my Binance coin. I want to buy it for less than what I received. So if I were to say receive 1.5 units of something, then I would probably spend 1.3 to 1.4 of them and get more than what I bought before. But these moves just happen fast. Let's take a look at Nebulous against Bitcoin next. And within its daily, the one thing I spots out to me is this day here on July the 26th. A high of 4,800, a low of 826, and a close of 41.33. Interesting. If you look at it, this is everything that you had for buy orders north of 825, well, definitely north of 826, all got filled. And it's in a situation where, if, say, for example, you had buy order in at, say, 3,600, it got filled, okay, let's put it, and then you maybe have another one in at, say, 28, maybe you put a little funky one in at, say, just even at the 1,000 number. Well, the 1,000 one, if, say, for every 1 unit you sold, you can get 4 times back in Bitcoin from what you bought at it pretty much immediately. And then you can just get those buy orders filled because of it. So that's like an instant sale. I don't get these grade of plays too often, and definitely not recently. But they are cool to get when they have. And most of my deep orders are on the other side for sale. I'll put a sell order in here at, if I was to sell at 2,600 on Bitcoin, maybe put a sell order in at, say, 3,000, 3,100 area, then another one in around, say, 4,200, and then another one. Well, you can only do a 10x move. And I'm going to be interested in taking a look at that again. But probably around 20. For example, if you put a sell order in for like 26,900, they'll reject it. But if you put it in for 25,000, they'll accept it. So in this case, the lowest buy order you could put in when it was 4,000 was that of 400. That's just how it seems to be on Binance. 10x is the biggest buy order and sell orders you can have. And I'm going to finish this coin or this video off with the coin of that of PIVX, which has been in a long or big downtrend. This was the second coin that I played that did well for me. The first one when I started was a coin called Bella, and it has pretty much been, it's like long gone now, but it did very well for me. And then the second one was PIVX, as I was able to get in on it in around the 40,000, 60,000. So in this little trade range in here, I bought here, basically got most of my profits, and that was a big move that it had, going from 500 Satoshi to 170,000, now currently at 17,000, and about 10x on its loss. Even within this time frame, this 18 average on the 3-day, it is pretty much a water slide. Price action continuously staying below the 18 average, very rarely even getting in it. That's how bad this decline has been since the April Fool's rally this year, and that's when it's fallen from 67,000, and it went down, at least on the Bittrex exchange, down to as low as 11. So it's finally managed to get out above the 18 average of highs on such. So at best you're at least, okay, can this thing start to flatten out? It's pretty much already established a level of resistance, and yeah, as long as if it holds, it's going to be flat. On the daily chart, it got above this level of resistance, but we can see the pullback already, 21,000 down to 17. So it has already lost close to 20% of its value, which for stocks, that could be a big news. But in this case here, okay, we'll see how this correctionary move works, because I know how this story works. It's either the start of some decent legs higher on, like I showed on the daily and 3-day, or it's a failed breakout, which means continuation on the downtrend and another decent leg lower to follow, most likely. But the moves happen fast. We can see it goes up from like just a big move in here from, well, the 15,000 and change handle up to 21, and then the quick move down in here. Lower high rally attempt of good volatility, 17,000 going up to almost 20. So that was about a 17% rally just amongst there. Back to this point where it was before. So a lot of indecision for where it's going to go at this point. If it falls, I know this was previous key level of resistance. So if it comes back to where it came from, and the distance from where the current major support is, right around 17,000, to this is a decent sized leg. And if it gets above the 18, maybe it can have some large sized green candles again. And then amongst this daily chart, start to do something to talk about filling some of this empty space, 25,000, 30,000, and so many higher levels available. And with all the crypto markets, we notice in here, oh, April, like this bottom like in the end of March, and then it topped as it was going into May. Well, all the cryptos went up in April for the most part, just like they all went up in December and into January. Oh, so December 7th this bottomed. It was a little bit of a late bloomer maybe, but still December 7th, December 9th it bottomed at 23, and then it rallied all the way up to 140. Its top occurred, well, January 24th, a late one, because most tops are around January 15th-ish, but That's how all the markets pretty much did, is they had great up moves. So will that happen again at some point? Maybe, but there's a good chance that the answer is yes. It's just figuring out when. Is it going to be happening in the near term time frame? A near term, of course, means October, November-ish. Maybe. It might be something you have to wait another several months for. However, it's happened before. And then not only did it happen there, but last March, April, and May, all the cryptos had spectacular moves as well. And of course, this one was no exception. Thank you for tuning in to today's video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.